St Peter and Paul's Church in the sleepy village of Kedington in Suffolk has a fascinating local legend attached, that of 10 Knights Templar being buried beneath 10 elm trees within the churchyard. A bit more credence to the tale was given when one of the elm trees fell many years ago and the skeleton of a man was found in its roots, according to Herbert Tompkins in his 1949 Companion into Suffolk book. The area itself has historic ties with the Knights Templars. Just a couple of miles up the road in Little Thurlow is Temple End. Temple End commemorates a land grant there before the 1270s by Roger and William Le Breton to the Knights Templars. Another archaeological record from the Cambridge Antiquarian Society in 1891 refers to remnants of buildings being uncovered at Temple End in the 10-acre field, but no further excavations took place. The tithe map also shows a temple field. There is strong evidence too from the graffiti in nearby Great Thurlow Church that the chapel there may have been used for ceremonial purposes for the order of knighthood. Indeed, there are 3 brasses of knights and their families that date from that period, and a large number of shields are inscribed in the arch of the Lady Chapel. The church building you see today was erected in the 13th century, so well within the Templar period. It's believed to be built on the site of an even older Saxon church, and possibly even on Roman foundations, certainly with evidence including Roman tiles and a Saxon cross. Indeed, halfway up the nave are a set of trapdoors which, when lifted, reveal Roman pavement, thought to be the foundations of a Roman villa. On the window ledge behind the high altar is a small 9th century stone Saxon cross. This cross once stood in the churchyard and was moved under cover to protect it from the elements. Over 20 Barnardiston monuments, who were lords of the manor from the 13th century until 1745, have caused this church to be known as the Westminster Abbey of Suffolk, and they truly are a sight to behold. Kedington is also the site of a possibly holy well or spring, said to have healing powers, and is found in the grounds of privately owned Ketton House, originally the rectory. Holy wells or sacred springs were often pagan sacred sites that later became Christian. Such wells are often linked to a piece of significant folklore in the area or an associated legend, and were the site of pilgrimage, votive offerings and rituals. The well is mentioned in Michael Burgess's paper of 1978, Holy Wells and Ancient Crosses of Norfolk and Suffolk. It is an unusual structure made of brick which has its own spiral stepped walkway. It was once at the side of the road until the road was diverted away, and a local tradition says that it was used by pilgrims on their way to Bury St Edmund's shrine. The Icknield Way lies approximately 3 miles away at Haverhill and was a significant part of the pilgrimage route to Bury St Edmunds. Pilgrims would walk along this ancient path, often called the Great Chalkway, to reach Bury St Edmunds and the shrine of St Edmund. Of interest, the elm tree has been linked by some to the Templars. Though no concrete evidence exists, they would have been aware of pagan mythology. Templars were certainly rumoured to hold secret knowledge, and their travels in the Middle East would have meant they would have encountered Islamic, Jewish or Eastern mystical traditions. Elm trees were associated with the underworld and with water. They hold a similar place in the folklore of ancient Greece, said to be the trees that sprouted to life when Orpheus played his harp for his wife Eurydice while rescuing her from the underworld. Elm was also commonly used for creating coffins due to its durability. Elm trees are often associated with regeneration and resilience due to their ability to sprout back after being felled or damaged, so would certainly have held symbolic meaning. The number 10 is surely of interest, as we know the Templars were aware of geometry as reflected in their architecture, although we are careful to say that some, not all, would have been aware. The number 10 was considered most sacred to Pythagoreans because it represented the tetractys, the sum of the first 4 natural numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. The tetractys, and therefore 10, was seen as a perfect and fundamental representation of the universe, signifying the harmony and order inherent in the cosmos. 10 was seen as the ultimate representation of perfection because it was derived from these fundamental numbers. 10 is also linked to the 10 interconnected spheres called Sephiroth, or spiritual realms, and 22 paths on the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is a central symbol in Jewish mysticism that represents the divine structure of the universe and a path to spiritual enlightenment. And of course, in the Bible, the number 10 is often associated with divine order, completeness, responsibility, and the 10 commandments. It represents the full and perfect order established by God, encompassing aspects like law, authority, and spiritual completion. So whilst there is no concrete evidence for the 10 noble knights being buried under elm trees at Kedington, there are certainly reasons to believe there may be some truth to this fascinating local legend, and perhaps the treasure that some claim has been hidden by them may well be a treasure, perhaps a spiritual treasure.